Right, so Keir Starmer, as regular viewers of my videos will attest to, upsets me, disgusts me with his lies, his purging of ordinary members, his destruction of the Labour Party as a vehicle for meaningful change as he tears up policies for change in favour of watered-down Tory mantras and exercising factional authoritarianism and bidding of the party rules and regs to get his way, removing those who stand between him and his bland, change-nothing relaunch of Blairism. I despise him arguably more than any other politician, a vacuous black hole where hope went to die for want of a country run in the interests of ordinary people who live here and not an elite for whom we work to enrich, all whilst earning our own poverty. Yet still, people say to me, sneer at me, that we need to get the Tories out, that somehow matters more than anything else. And I have to say repeatedly, just change the damn record, because if getting the Tories out changes nothing, then what is the fucking point? Of all of Labour's achievements, the single greatest is not NATO, as this brylcreemed borefest has said, it is the NHS. It has suffered from 12 years of Tory reforms and was a punching bag before that, which was really just been privatisation by stealth. A service that might still be free at point of service for now, but those services are so often run these days not by the NHS, but by somebody else hiding behind NHS livery. And of course, Brexit has hurt it too, as it has in so many other areas. It drove away so many NHS workers. You see, the NHS has for decades relied on recruiting nurses and doctors and consultants and midwives and more from abroad in order to run the service professionally and safely. The loss of so many skilled health workers who cannot be replaced overnight has left our health service on its knees. So for all those people out there saying we need to get the Tories out, this is what the man you think of as your saviour, the guy who is still being given an easy ride by the media, has said about fixing our NHS.
Apparently not. We don't want open borders. Freedom of movement has gone and it's not coming back. So that means fair rules, firm rules, a points-based system. What I would like to see is the numbers go down in some areas. I think we're recruiting too many people from overseas into, for example, the health service. But on the other hand, if we need high-skilled people in innovation in tech to set up factories, etc., then I would encourage that. So I don't think there's an overall number here. Some areas we need to go down, other areas we need to go up.
Keir Starmer reckons we are recruiting too many people from overseas into the NHS. The fact is, we can't fill the vacancies we already have. Currently over 100,000. We haven't been able to for years, yet Starmer thinks 7,500 are going to be enough, all whilst reducing the migrant health workforce. He has no idea, not one fucking clue what the situation is and how bad things have become. He keeps bleating about how his wife works in the NHS. She's a lawyer, not a healthcare worker, incidentally, but you'd think they'd talk about such things, surely. It's insulting how clueless the idiot is. He is offensively ignorant. The damage to health worker numbers as a direct result of Brexit, sending so many out of the UK, is not something to be addressed either, because according to Starmer, there is no case for rejoining the EU. Wake up, FBPE. Certainly not now he's got rid of Corbyn, because the liar was singing a different tune back in 2019, wasn't he? Brexit isn't the only crisis in NHS recruitment, though. So is retention of those left. Last year, 1 in 9 nurses left the service. That's 40,000 skilled workers gone, burnt out, overworked, underpaid and abused. Yet the hymn sheet of Keir Starmer now is British jobs for British workers. 7,500 doesn't touch the sides of nursing losses alone. A National Front slogan is basically what he's invoking, not patriotism as he shoves another flag up his arse, but dog whistle racism. From the days of Windrush, we've needed migrant workers in the health service, and they have come and done their part, made it the envy of the world, yet you think training more here is the answer? Well, blow me down. How did nobody think of that one already in the past 50-odd years? It takes 3 years minimum for nurses, midwives and paramedics, 5 to 8 years to train as a doctor, depending on specialty, up to 10 years for a GP. Starmer's a fool to think training people here and now will make any difference this side of 2030, realistically, and yet he thinks 7,500 is enough to do that. The situation has never been any different, but now the migrant health workers we need aren't good enough for the health service in his mind. Oh, but they're good enough as long as they're coming for something else, though, aren't they? Starmer said, what I would like to see is the numbers go down in some areas. I think we're recruiting too many people from overseas into, for example, the health service. But on the other hand, if we need high-skilled people in innovation, in tech, to set up factories, etc., then I would encourage that. Foreigners fine to work in factories, but not the NHS, is the message here. That is literally what he is saying. There is no misunderstanding or misconstruing of that. It's just the worst, most racist, nasty attitude going, painting a target on the back of migrant health workers and putting more off coming here where they're needed and will likely drive more away underappreciated as they are. And he did it all on a day when nurses were voting for strike action, 300,000 potentially walking out, and not simply over pay, as the shitbag mainstream media are fixated on, but because the service has become too unsafe and they're taking a stand, once again, in all of our interests. So we need to back theirs. It shouldn't just be us either. The trade unions, especially those representing health workers, and most especially those who are affiliated to Labour, should be slamming this and threatening withdrawal of funding. I'm looking at you, Unison, letting your members down again, it seems. The message here is that no matter who is running the country, be they the Tories or Starmer, things won't change for these people. Our health service will continue to suffer. My 4 children were delivered by an Egyptian, a Pakistani, a Spaniard, and my youngest by an Indian on a Sunday in an emergency procedure that saved the lives of both my wife and my son, who weighed just £3 4 ounces. He was cared for 8 weeks on Skaboo by staff, at least half of whom were not British. When my father was dying of cancer, one of the nicest, most understanding nurses caring for him was Polish. I do not give a fuck where these people are from, as long as they are here and saving our lives, because I owe them more than I could ever repay. And I'm certainly not alone in that.
From the depths of degradation that the Tories left it in and hoisted it back to the pinnacles of achievement. And I've got a United Nations heart bypass to prove it. And it was done by a Syrian cardiologist, a Malaysian surgeon, a Dutch doctor, a Nigerian registrar. And these 2 people here talk about sending them back.
Now, who would argue with the beast? I honestly didn't think my visceral revulsion of Keir Starmer could get any stronger. He is not an alternative to the Tories, but he's even more right-wing than many of them are. Tub-thumping for the hard-right racist vote, thinking he'll still retain the votes of more moderate people, more left-wing people who, as his mentor Mandelson once put it, have nowhere else to go. Well, we'll fucking find somewhere else. You're living in blissful ignorance if you believe things will improve with this snake of a man leading the country instead of the vipers we currently have in charge. All of us at some point have a story of our experiences with the NHS. All of us at some point in our lives, perhaps it hasn't come yet, perhaps it has all too often, owe them everything. They are there for us when we are at our weakest, at our lowest, when we need help beyond anything we can control or deal with ourselves. Did you care where these people were from then? Did you stand on your doorstep and clap for the NHS on a Thursday when they were saving our lives whilst too often giving their own? And don't blow a dog whistle to appease racist politicians desperate to score points by supporting Keir Starmer now. Even Enoch Powell praised overseas health workers who came here to work in the NHS. We need the Tories out, but any party led by Starmer is not an alternative to that, and it may even be worse.